गजाननं भूतगणातिसेवितं कपित्तजम्बूफलसारभक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीगुरवे नमः। So you can start sharing the horoscope of the lady. The question is, we are trying to assess the quality of her marriage, married life. Okay, the question about marriage, happy, okay, unhappy, whatever that is. We are trying to, but each one, as usual, raise your hand and then speak, and then please handle the mic properly, because if you leave it unmuted, then there'll be a lot of background noise. For me, editing becomes very difficult. So once you're done, mute the mic. And when you're just about to say something, unmute. And then, be very careful with that to avoid noise. So this is the horoscope of, yes.
The female, sir.
Okay, female. Now, there are two ways to, grow in astrology. One is in the chat, you can start typing something that you observe even before you, begin to interact. And if you want something, I need this also, I need this, then I think maybe Manoj can get those things on the page if something is missing. Okay.
I think everything mostly I've kept the D7, D9, Baba chart and the Rashi chart with the.
I see.
So Guruji, can I start, make a prediction, or do we have to wait?
1 minute. Let me also say 1 minute, Sai. You can start. You'll be the first one. But Manoj, in the Upapada Lagna, can you click on the original method of doing Upapada? Because here, Jupiter, the Lord of the 12th, is in the 12th, and Upapada is there itself, right? In the same place. But that's not what Maharishi Parashara has taught us in the Upapada Lagna. So make it the original one, the default.
It should be the 9th house.
Yeah, it should be not there, no? It will be in the 10th from that point.
Yeah, 9th house.
Kanya.
Yeah, Kanya.
Kanya.
Maybe global Arudha Lagna. Just type Arudha Lagna alone and then see what comes up. What are the choices you have? Arudha Lagna, wait, global, no exceptions, that one. Just try that and see, click it and done, get done. Use done and see what happens.
Yeah, change, sir.
Yeah. And okay, we have DK, GK, everything, right? Yeah. So, Manoj, do you want to mute everybody, force mute, and then permit each one to say something, because I hear a lot of noise?
1 second, sir.
In the mute all, there'll be an option to say that they can unmute themselves and speak. So you take control, and let's start with Sai Prahlad first.
Yeah, hello Guruji.
Yes.
So to start with, I was looking at the 2nd house and the 7th house. So the 7th Lord is in the 2nd, but 6th from itself. So, and Mars is in the 8th house. So Mars in the 8th house is Mangal Dosha, and but Guru's aspect is there, 7, 8, 9. So Mangal Dosha is getting cancelled, but 7th Lord being 6 space away, so that could indicate maybe some small fights and challenges. And also the score for the 2nd house is only 20 by Ashtaka Varga, and the 2nd Lord Shani is with Ketu on Guru's nakshatra, so on Guru's house, which is Meena. So that does indicate some problem. Now UL having Rahu could indicate that maybe getting married could have been at some trouble, some issues there in UL. But 2nd from UL is good, so marriage should be okay. I don't see any big challenge, but definitely UL getting married might have been some issue. So this is my initial reading.
Okay. Thank you for that contribution. We will give opportunity to others. And meanwhile, Manoj, I am not able to go through the chat. You can see if something has been told. For example, Pavanu Chennupati, 12th Lord in 12th, not good for marriage. Okay. That too, Jupiter is near to Bhava Madhya. Okay. What is the logic of including something to do with the 12th house? Anyone wants to contribute? Raise your hand and or I don't know what is the setting right now.
No,
Why
sir,
is it
it's
so
open.
important?
It is open
Why is that?
setting.
It's open. Okay.
Okay.
Sharing
12th house
bed.
is sharing bed.
Okay.
12th house is related to marriage and sharing things, sir. Sharing things with the partner and children also. It indicates the luck with children and partner.
Yeah.
Sharing.
The 12th house.
mobile
So, my God, this will never. I don't know how to do that. Mute all. There's a force mute. Okay. Marriage actually survives in terms of length of marriage, in number of years, no separation, long living couples, long-lived couples, and so on. So sharing means sharing everything. Okay. It's not just bed as how people normally say 12th house is bed. It includes bed because one symptom of a failed marriage is that they wouldn't sleep together. Okay. That's an easy way to understand. That's a proof that things are falling apart. Okay.
Somebody, oh my God.
Yeah. Manoj, if you say mute all or mute something,
I don't see that option, sir. That's the point.
You have to go to participants. Go to participants and click that and see in more or something. There'll be a mute all. And then there'll be another question asked, do you want people to unmute and talk?
Got it, sir.
Yeah. And then now what procedure everybody has to follow is you raise your hand.
I will
then unmute.
Yes,
okay. So that's the only way. Okay, there's no other way.
I'm muting everybody, sir, now.
So that they stay nice and hard. Yeah. No.
Okay, I'm muted.
Successful. Okay. I want to say a very important thing. Okay. Whenever we discuss, huge problems, active problems in marriage, and that's the question. Let's say tomorrow you are the astrologer. You know what will happen? The heavens will show you some signs. There will be a lot of noise. Okay. From both sides. A lot of disturbances. Many things will happen. Suddenly you'll hear strange sounds. And that's a hint as per Prashna theory. Because whenever you go to an astrologer, something about you will get reflected in the consultation. Okay. Anyway, now we have force muted everybody. So Jupiter in the 12th. We'll keep that in mind. Okay. How many of you feel why can't we give importance to that Jupiter is in its own sign? And how to weigh this, which is more important? Jupiter in the 12th or Jupiter in own house? In terms of weightage, what will be your stance? For
both has got equal importance, sir. If you take Bhrigu Sutram on one aspect, it is having an importance, and Jupiter at the 12th itself has another importance.
Yeah, but in astrology, we got to take a stance. When you go forward in astrology, you got to take a stance. Wait a minute. In between, I just saw a pop-up chat saying that somebody said Jupiter in the 12th is more important than Jupiter in Swakshetra. Okay. How do you figure this out? Anyone wants to come in?
Okay, now I will permit Karthik
Yes,
to
somebody
speak.
is wanting to say something. Yes.
Sir, because Jupiter in 12th is more specific than Jupiter being in an own house for that particular person's Lagna degree.
Yes, this is the answer that I was looking for. Which one will be more important? Is the fact that on that day, next day, any Lagna, any date in that year, what they call Jupiter year, Jupiter will be in Swakshetra from 0 degree to 30 degrees of Sagittarius. And all of them, you're going to say Jupiter is good, and so on. No. As the student replied, this is something very specific for the person. Okay, maybe Jupiter is in its own house. But to me, it is in the 12th, which is important. To me is always important than the general. Because as you mentioned, the student said, it is something specific to the person. If he was born 2 hours later, wow, it will be Jupiter in the 11th in Swakshetra. Beautiful. 11th Lord in the 11th. One more, 2 hours gone, 2 hours later, a triple vow, saying that is Pancha Mahapurusha Yoga. On the same day, 12 times, the 12 different big varieties of, where you can say something very clearly, 12 Lagnas, that day, each one will have something specific in the chart pertaining to the same Jupiter. Whereas when you say Jupiter is Swakshetra, then it is general statement. It is like saying it is daylight, the sun is up, but I'm in a portion where there's a cloud and I'm not seeing the sun. Whereas the rest of the world will be seeing the sun, at least in that locality. I'm sorry about the usage, rest of the world. In my town, let's say in Ashok Nagar, there's a cloud that blocks the light onto my apartment. Only I can see the shadow moving, but at this point in time, it's dark. I'm in the shadow. Okay. Whereas somebody else will be, for them, the sun will be bright. So it's always in astrology, what is it for me? I hope everybody has got this point. Okay. I'm on Tirupati right now. That's why Manoj is conducting this. Okay. So we have something about Jupiter. Anything strikes your, grabs your attention when we say Jupiter? Okay. When I say Jupiter and this person, I'll be waiting for one particular exact answer. Okay. You can always say,
So if anybody wants to answer it, please raise your hands.
Maybe this person likes to be more spiritual and isolated. Because of Jupiter and
the question is about this person, right? The question is about this person. From the point of view of this person, do you see something? Am I audible, Manoj?
Yeah, sir, you are audible, sir. Okay, Sridevi.
Third Lord, okay.
Yeah, first Lord and third lord, mutual exchange, sir. 12th lord.
Okay,
First to
I'll give
second
you
is mutual exchange
I'll-
with third and 12th.
we are talking about marriage and something that logically connects to Jupiter Mahadasha. Simple logic, not very complicated. Very simple logic. Something for a typical, it's a lady, right? And from that you can get a clue.
Guruji, so I just
Yes.
noticed something. The 9th house from the 7th is the 3rd house. So it is like the Bhagya of the 7th. And that has two Guru Grahas, which is Ketu and Shani. And Shani is the 2nd lord. And so definitely this is indicating, and 2nd house having very low score, it's definitely indicating something wrong with the marriage, maybe separation from family. Somewhere the Bhagya is getting hit.
Okay, that is not the answer that at least I was looking for. Not that you are wrong. You have given some valid points. But I'm looking, okay, I will reveal it. If this is the horoscope of a lady, okay, when do you think it matters most for a person? A typical Indian, traditional Indian, lady, or not only for that matter, for almost the entire world also. How can you relate something to do with Jupiter? Jupiter represents husband for a woman. Okay, point taken. Okay, I'll tell you. Look at when the dasha of Jupiter is. It's always one of the most important things in astrology is to first note what is the time now, what is the period now. Okay, you have to just look at when Jupiter starts and when Jupiter ends. Yes, Jyotish Kasi. Jupiter Dasha begins at the most, at an age when it all matters. 16 years. I think she was born in which nakshatra?
Dhanisha, sir.
So Dhanisha means Mars will be the first Dasha. Okay. And Kumbha Rashi means it will obviously be only Dhanisha 4th Pada, right? Because 5 degrees, 18 minutes. So Mars almost ended, then Rahu 18 years, and that's it. After that, Guru. So you can roughly see, because the software gives you when, right? That's the beauty of Sri Jyoti. It tells you the age. So from what age it is? Jupiter is 18.7. From that time onwards until 34.7, the person is in Jupiter Mahadasha. You see that the Mahadasha is like a like the canvas. Antardashas are something drawn over the canvas. Okay. So the dasha will have a great hold on everything throughout that 16 years. We're just waiting for one more graha to do something, because already it is not in a good spot. Generally, how do you read dasha and antardasha? Or at least dasha? Anybody wants to start? Dasha alone. Is it nice to have Jupiter in 12th house? Anybody wants to help?
Nobody
begin
is
with placement.
Probably I'll pick it up, sir. So Bhrigu Sutram specifically says that if you have a benefic in the 12th house, in your next birth, it helps you for an upper loga. So if this person is, the way the chart is defined, this person is trying to get into a spiritual path, and this Jupiter Dasha will also help her for that.
Okay. But if the context is if the topic is marriage, what would you say? Whether it will be a happy time in marriage or troublesome, average, very bad?
So this chart is not a divorce chart, sir, for sure. That I am 100% sure. Okay, there might be drawbacks, but it is not a divorce chart. Unless and until we compare the husband's chart, then we can probably come into a conclusion what would go with the marriage.
Okay, because I think we have the husband's chart also, so we should be able to.
I can show both the charts simultaneously, sir, if you want.
No, we'll finish this for the next 10 minutes, and then we'll go over there. In Navamsha, anybody notices anything strange, unique, abnormality?
So there are two things I noticed, sir. In Navamsa, the Lagna Lord is in 12th. And also the 7th Lord is in 2nd in both D1 and D9. And according to BPHS, 7th Lord in 2nd means multiple wives or multiple spouses.
Okay, maybe more than one marriage. Okay, that's a clue.
And the third thing is in the D1, in the Upapada Lagna, it's Rahu is there.
In Upapada Lagna, Rahu is there. Okay, we'll have that also as an important point. When you have Rahu in Upapada Lagna, Rahu is the hiding, the cheating, the surprising. Okay, like it will be like, yeah.
Yeah, and also in Bhava Chakra, Shukra is afflicted with the nodes. He moved back. Kalatra Karaka. He's in nature.
Kalatra Karaka in Bhava chart. Do you have the Bhava chart here? I'm not able to see it. Over on the top. Okay. What did he say? Bhava chart?
He moved back, Venus. He's in nature and he's afflicted with nodes.
No, in the Bhava chart, you don't use the word Nicha because Venus is truly in Tula. It is not Nicha. Okay, that's one mistake. Okay.
But he's with nodes.
Okay. Is it with the nodes? Even that is also not true because even though they might be in the 9th house in the Bhava chart, it's still not together. You know why? Because look at Venus 0 degrees and Rahu 11 degrees. A wide gap between Venus and Rahu. How much of gap? Because from 11 to 30, that much gap. Okay, so it's really not together. So it's not under influence. It's okay. We are all learning, so don't worry about if you make mistakes. Okay.
Sir, 7th Lord is not in 2nd house, sir. 7th Lord is in 1st house.
You want to correct it? Yeah. You want to say that? Yeah. Okay. 7th Lord in 1, not good for marriage.
Yes, yes, sir. And one more thing is the 2nd from Rahu is in UL, and the 2nd of UL is also having its Lord in its own house is not good for marriage with respect to Upapada Lagna, if we see in that chapter.
Upapada Lagna. Okay. Can you repeat it? I was looking at something else. I'm sorry. Upapada Lagna.
Upapada Lagna 2nd house is having its own Lord in its house.
Okay.
It's not good for marriage. It's not good.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. It is rule stated in Upapada Lagna chapter, I think.
If
having its Lord in its own
Shubhagraha
house is not. It is not not Shubhagraha point, sir. Lord is in its own house. Is the point.
In the 2nd.
The marriage.
Is it stated
span of married life is not that long.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure about that. Jaimini Sutra. Yeah. Jaimini Sutras or Parashara? Who said that? I'm not sure.
In Upapada Lagna chapter, sir, it is Parashara book, right, sir? It's Sri Maharishi Parashara book, sir. It's written by Maharishi Parashara. Yeah, and one more thing is, sir, I will check this point.
V.K. Varman. V.K. Verman said, this is correct, I think, what he has typed just now. When second lord in the second from UL, the person will outlive the partner. Okay,
That
will
means,
live longer
yeah,
than,
this is,
will live longer than. That rule is stated. But this one
yes.
is a surprise to me because any Shubhagraha on Lagna or in the second from Upapada Lagna, or second from is actually welcome. Okay, anyway, we'll come back to that. Anything else before we
Sir,
move
I
on
have
to
one
the
more point, sir. I have one more
I
point,
have
sir. The seventh lord is debilitated in the Navamsha, sir.
seventh lord is debilitated in Navamsha. I like that one. Okay, this is a very nice way of asking, interviewing the question, interviewing the planet. Okay, you are the seventh lord moon. Where are you in Navamsha? So she's going to say, I'm in Nicha in Navamsha. What does that mean? Something very important about marriage. Because a graha goes in Navamsha, especially marriage topic. And in this case, it happens to be the seventh lord. Therefore, it is something very big. Okay? Not all the
Sir,
time,
I have
but
a
this
point
time
to
it is
add.
the seventh lord. Yeah.
Whatever is we are talking about ascendant, it is true even with moon. From moon
Whatever it is.
also, yeah, because like moon is moved to ascendant, sir.
No, if you want to create a moon chart, you don't use that idea because from moon you'll have to draw separately for 5-degree moon, and then again 5 plus 15. You use the like Jagannath or allows you to do that moon center.
Okay.
That time you won't shift it back. So don't shift it because moon will be
Okay.
there only. The true position of the planets are given here. It's when you say Bhava chart, only with reference to Lagna degree, planets are measured. Okay.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
from
that's okay.
D9, sir, from D9, both ascendant lord is debilitated and from D9, seventh lord is debilitated again. Seventh lord is afflicted, sir. That's what I mean to say.
What did he say? Seventh lord?
From moon, in D9, seventh lord is afflicted even though it is in own house.
Oh, afflicted, you're saying. From moon, the seventh. Okay. Okay. I think one of the most important point was somebody said the Lagna Lord itself is in the 12th. The Navamsha. Something very important. I think Kasi Jyotish wants to say something, right? Manoj, will you unmute? Or some
I'm unmuting everybody that is raising hands.
Okay.
So I think Guruji, like even V.K. Varman also pointed out, like I was also looking. So Saptamsha, also if you look at children, the Lagna is Sagittarius, and Lagna Lord is in 6th, and also the 5th Lord is in 12th house.
Wow, that's something remarkable point. Saptamsa. What is marriage for? Marriage is for children. Okay, to a good extent, the quality of marriage is revealed by what happens in the domain of children. So Sai points out that this is an extraordinary weak D7 chart. It is staring in the face. And our hero Jupiter, whose dasha is going on, is in the 6th house. I think Sai says it's also Lagna Lord. Over and above that, it is Putra Karaka. So the D7 chart is extremely, malign, we can say, with even the Sun, Rahu, Ketu on that axis, which is called eclipse. Right? Whenever Sun, Rahu, Ketu on one axis, that axis gets eclipsed, where Guru is also there. So this is something very special. For a small time interval, the Saptamsa Lagna will come here when in the basic chart itself, Jupiter was already in the 12th. And then here it is in the 6th. Okay. So now Jyotish will say, Jyotish Kasi, please unmute.
Yes.
He'll say,
yes.
He will complete the rest of it, I'm sure, from Navamsha.
Yeah, I think to me, the biggest clue was in Navamsha. If you look at...
I sense that. I sense that.
Yeah.
Yes.
12, 1 and 2, completely afflicted is to me, that was probably the biggest clue of a troubled marriage. And also, actually, Jupiter looks like, on initially when you see its an own house, it's okay. But it is also afflicted actually in D1 itself, right? With the aspect of Saturn. And also in D9, it's in Rahu Ketu axis. So those were a couple of my key indicators. Hello?
So somebody said there is no scope for marriage. And just because something to do with sharing. And then Jyotish Kasi says that, okay, after I saw Jupiter in the 12th, then when I shifted my gaze to the Navamsha, I see that Jupiter is badly afflicted. Remember, I told some of, in one of the classes that in the year 1992 or 93, maybe 92, 93, I'm not sure. I published an article called Navamsha Key to Marriage, and Dr. B.V. Raman sent a personal note to me, handwritten letter, saying that's a wonderful piece of research. What I concluded with many case studies, and I still believe that this rule is perfect, is that in the conjoined periods of planets placed in 3, 6, 8, and 12, conjoined. If the basic horoscope is already afflicted and we have enough proof in the static potential of the horoscope that there could be troubled marriage, then that is a period of divorce. Now the problem is this Jupiter is already in 12, and then in Navamsha it is in the 3rd. Okay. And look at the way the Rahu Ketu is on, and then you can look at Jupiter. Jupiter hates to be there because the sign belongs to Venus. He doesn't like Venus. Venus is neutral to Jupiter. And then we have Rahu and Ketu. So a trick in astrology is keep looking at Rahu and Ketu always. Where is it? For example, Sai pointed out to, in D7 chart, Rahu and Ketu is angling on children. Here, it is angling on the Dashana of Jupiter and the sharing. Unfortunately, this girl never got the opportunity to share. Okay. From this, now you can make wild guesses because the marriage is, in trouble. In which dasha and antardasha the person may have married. I'll give you the clue. It's always, whenever there is a troublesome marriage or a failed marriage, the marriage will always happen in the bad time, as per the basic chart and Navamsha chart and all other charts, all other concerned charts. We're running a bad time, the marriage will happen during that time. So for years, I've been using this idea that whenever, I'm a little confused, I want to know what track I should take. I'll always ask them, tell me the date of marriage. And I'll have a quick glance at the dasha and antardasha. And if I see that they're all badly placed in Navamsha, I'll know the beginning itself was bad. So I guess already have enough clues, and then I use this one clue to finally say, yes, this is how I'm going to decide. So from this, can you say in Jupiter what dasha the person may have married? Just wild guess. No, it's not. There's nothing wrong if you make a mistake on this, but
Jupiter, Saturn, sir.
Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. Okay.
Because the probability would be mostly during the dasha of the Navamsha. So during Jupiter, Saturn is in the second house of Kutumbasthana.
No, I just now quoted the rule in the article that I wrote long time back, the Navamsha key to marriage, in the conjoined periods of planets. That is, two planets occupying third, the sixth, eighth, and 12th.
That was also the rule. That was also the rule that what's his name? Shastra, PSIR uses, right, sir? The third, sixth, and the eighth in the divisional charts.
I don't know whether he had used it, but this was my original finding many years back.
Yes, okay. Sir, I've read it, but PSIR also for divisional charts he has mentioned on the 368 rule.
12.
But not specifically for marriage. Not specifically for marriage, like you have done.
Okay. Right, yeah. So these two grahas, okay, they are having something. But if you look at from the overall chart point of view, suppose you get married in Jupiter, Mercury. Why is it? Why can we say something more about Jupiter, Mercury other than Navamsha to say that please don't get married in Jupiter, Mercury? Anyone?
Yeah. I think I think my guess at least is the marriage happened in Jupiter, Mercury, which is probably not a good period, because Mercury, being the seventh lord from Jupiter, is in 12th from Jupiter, and it is also afflicted in Navamsha.
Very good point. So
Sir, Mercury is also sixth lord from Lagna.
Very good. Yeah, now adding up points. But the most important point is actually already the Jupiter, the Mahadasha is in the 12th. So you put a dot on, question mark on Jupiter. Wait, he's up to something. And then the person gets married in Mercury. Okay. Where from Jupiter, it is in the 12th. Then you can add more points like this. But then what happens? These two people together in Navamsha third house. Okay, the marriage is actually short-lived, but the question is whether it will go up to divorce. Okay. And suppose, when Sai said, the seventh house is damaged to the maximum. What would you say about that with reference to marriage? You can make some statements. If this was a real reading where you're sitting in, the client is sitting in front of you, or the person who's, sitting in front of you, so you have to say something. How will you answer? I'm seeing this in the chart. Sai Prahlad, I think one more Sai is there. He said that, right? Maybe you are not, there at that time. What's his full name? I forgot. Okay. I'll tell you one more thing. See, this Upapada, first of all, never use the modern way of doing Upapada. Always use what Maharishi Parashara said in BPHS. Okay. Look at the seventh house, 1-7 axis of the UL. Do you see it's very nice? 1-7. Use UL like a Lagna for marriage. It's a very simple idea. The UL itself becomes another axis. UL and the seventh from itself becomes the axis of. Why is UL so important? UL is the big sins of our past life. The big sins. Okay. So whenever you have afflictions on UL, the punishment also in this birth will come in a big way. There will be real problems. real suffering. Okay.
Sir, was there any difficulty in this person's birth, sir?
Birth itself.
You have any information?
No, Manoj, I don't have.
Because the reason I'm asking is the dasha that she was born with Mercury sun, sir. Sorry, Mars sun.
Mm-hmm.
So Mars is in the eighth, and again that eighth lord is in Mars house. So there is a parivartana also between the eighth and the 11th lord.
Yeah, but we didn't discuss those things. And it never came up in the consultation. Okay, when the person consults me, let's say in this year, is there something special about transit of planets with one more reason why now?
Sadasati, sir.
Sadasati. Saturn going over Kumbha. Now, Saturn goes over Kumbha for 1/12 of the world's population. Okay, somebody says peak 7.5 years. Very good. It's right in the middle, right? But is there something else you can say from some other point? And if I say Kumbha Lagna, 1/12 of the world's population, they're all going through. Yeah, Sai Prahlad has given the answer. That such a moon happens to be her 7th lord. Please understand that. The moon in the sky, moon in the natal chart, the natal moon, over which now transit Saturn, T Saturn, transit Saturn is going over. If you ask moon, who are you for this person? She will say, I am the marriage planet. So Sade Sati, I'm going to concentrate on the marriage. Okay. So for each person, Sade Sati will have a different focus based on the lordship of the moon. Okay. I think somewhere in the beginning, somebody mentioned that she has got a low score in Ashtakavarga, right? In this place, I remember. Somebody said. Ashtakavarga score in Kumbha Rashi is very low. Who said that? Manoj, is anybody? All of you can put down your hand. And then if you have something to say now, raise your hand so that Manoj will unmute.
So Guruji, I think Sai Prahlad said that in Ashtakavarga, the second house has 20 points.
Sai Prahlad. Okay, Sai Prahlad said that in Ashtakavarga, the second house of Kutumba has a low score. Okay. And then that is where the peak Sade Sati is happening. Okay. Now the man and wife, they are separated. Okay.
Guruji, one more thing is, did you confirm that marriage happened in Jupiter Mercury, or is it Jupiter Saturn?
Jupiter Mercury.
Okay. So I think even I saw Sriviji mentioned good points. But can you confirm if they're I think they need to be considered? One is she mentioned Mercury is the Upapada Lagna Lord.
Mercury is the?
Upapada Lagna Lord.
Oh, Upapada Lagna Lord. Okay. But how do you connect it to a rule? Do we have statements like that which says the Lord of the Upapada Lagna, something like that in Dasha and Antardasha reading? I'm not sure. Whereas you can say something like the Upapada Lagna Lord is in a sign that he doesn't like. Mercury doesn't like, not that he doesn't like, Mars doesn't like Mercury being there. So Mercury is somewhat afflicted because it is a green planet sitting in a red sign. Because Mars sign is red. So Mercury is not doing well. That's one point. But the actual reason why the marriage, a person should not have married in Jupiter Mercury is that Mercury is behind Jupiter, in the 12th from Jupiter, and they are together in Navamsha, in the third house. Okay, I think we have done with that. So we find that this is an unfortunate situation where the time when the person's foundation for the marriage has to be laid, the person unfortunately is in a Jupiter Mahadasha. And our research also says that people who have 12th Lord in the 12th, most probably, if everything else fits, they can be unmarried for the rest of their lives. Remain unmarried. It gives them a license to remain unmarried. It's one of the weakest things as far as marriage is concerned. Like in the beginning, Manoj said, the next region is heavenly, and maybe this person will go towards spirituality. Only if you go towards spirituality, the 12th Lord in the 12th is good. Take the example of Sri K.N. Rao. Okay, the 12th Lord in the 12th, right? Exalted. So next world will be heavenly, and he has remained unmarried, right? So 12th Lord in the 12th, 12th Lord in the 8th, frequently, in terms of, if you say statistics, they'll be mostly unmarried. I mean, there's just a statement because you know that there are so many other rules to see, but then since we know that there is trouble in this marriage, and we are very sure, if she gets out of this marriage, there's a chance she may remain unmarried for the rest of life, especially because the seventh, the D7 chart right now. Manoj shifted to.
Sir,
was it in Samsa?
Yeah, sir. The other beauty, this Jupiter Dasha will be a transformation, complete transformation for her is, we noticed that the Jupiter is placed in the third, in the D9, D7, D20 also, sir.
Oh, awakening, you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
The awakening.
So
that's interesting.
So that's a very interesting combination, sir.
So she might find a guru and do something.
Because with respect to her life, so the Jupiter Dasha will be a transformation for her.
Okay, if this person were to ask all of you this single question, okay, my marriage is in trouble, most probably I'm going to divorce, but what about my second marriage, or do I remain unmarried for the rest of my life? Which side should we swing to? This or that? Which side?
Still towards staying alone in isolation, because even now I think it's Saturn Mahadasha will start after Jupiter, even that is not promising.
There's a tough question, I know, because psychologically and morally, ethically, for an astrologer to say don't get married, and especially it's a lady, females find it very difficult. I think they become more vulnerable if they remain unmarried, unlike men.
Guruji, second marriage should be okay, provided she is spiritual. So I use two techniques. Some people take the 11th house for the second marriage, and Mercury and Sun are there. So that's like okay, I guess. And there's another technique where they take 8 from UL for second marriage. And 8 from UL, that Lord is well placed. So Mars is well placed in Surya's house. So it is kind of okay. She can get married again. But
what about the question? If I get married, will
the original combination.
Okay, if she says, "Well, okay, I'll get married," but do you think I'll have children?
Guruji, may I say something?
That is again very hard.
Guruji, Kishore here. Gurubhyo Namah.
Yes, Kishore ji.
So I was traveling, and then I was listening to the conversation. I came back home. I saw the chart.
Okay.
So the points that I wanted to mention are like this. We'll first approach from the moon lagna, because there are some patterns which are repeating from the different lagnas that we take into consideration, like the moon lagna, the upapada lagna, and the Jupiter as the karaka for marriage for a female. And the 8th house for the marriage, its significations also for a lady. Now, from the moon, the 7th point that I wanted to mention, and most importantly, the affliction of Ashtaka Varga, I mean, the low score of Ashtaka Varga in the Kutumba Sthana denotes that there is a problem that she has to deal with either with the birth family or the husband's family or the new family, that is her own married, the family that she's going to create. Now, all these are substantiated by the affliction to the 5th house also, because sometimes the 5th house afflictions, there is the children's the putra dosha also comes in the form of affliction in marriage.
Okay.
So these are the
that we saw in D7. Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
a lot of nice.
So all these points we have seen. Most importantly is this Jupiter in the 12th, giving her being an Atma Karaka and also being the Karaka for marriage in the 12th and running the Dasha from the 12th. Main thing is the Dashanath. If the Dashanath is running Dasha from 6, 8 and 12, we generally say the negative incidents. So he is a Dashanath, right? He's running Dasha from the 12th.
Correct.
So there again we see the strokes of destiny coming in play. Had she not married and had she taken a spiritual turn, this chart would have been a very powerful chart. Seventh Lord in the second would mean gains from people, and this being moon here can also mean an emotional attachment to the husband.
7th Lord in the first house, Kishorji.
In the second, 7th in the second.
No, there is Baba chart. Yeah, but in the Rashi, you can give some importance if you want to say moon occupies the sign of Saturn, the second Lord. If you want, you can say that.
Yes,
but in the Baba chart, if you read, you'll say moon is in the first.
Actually, I am trying to read the Rashi chart in total before I go to the Baba chart for the Dasha Bhuktis. Baba chart is for the dynamic things and the Rashi is for the statics.
Okay.
And there also we see that the second house affliction, though it is there, but still her spiritual angle would have made things much better. I mean, we can't say that to everyone, right, Guruji? That you must become a spiritual person. It's their karma, right?
Yeah.
So
yes, correct.
That is the thing. Yeah. So second house is afflicted, third house is afflicted. All those things are bothering me. And there was one observation I made about this affliction to the 11th Lord also. I mean, the 11th house also.
Okay.
The 11th house afflicted by Saturn and Sun and Mercury with the aspect of Mars on it. So the 11th house, the house of desires, all those are taking a hit from the marriage point of view.
The 6th Lord and the 8th Lord is there connecting the 11th.
Yeah, so that is a difficult. If she desires something, it's not going to be like more of. If it is positive, sattvic, fine. But if it is going to be from marriage point of view, then there is a problem there. I have a strong feeling that Mars afflicting the 11th, along with the presence of Mercury and Sun. Both Mercury takes on Sun's nature, being associated with Sun. So who's the 8th Lord? So that seems to be a small dent in. Because if I remember right, we also consider the 11th house, right, Guruji, for marriage.
Yeah. Not only for marriage, we use the 11th house for almost everything because when we say good and bad times, it's always about our desires. If we get what we want or what we desire, then we say it's a good time. So if you look at the Prashna done by Professor K.S. Krishnamurthy, there is never a time when he left out the 11th house because always like you want it. It's always the 11th house. Okay, so that's also a nice point. It's a very important thing because 11th is also friends. That's why we want friends.
Guruji, so now you are talking about children. No, that was the second question. Very, very difficult, Guruji. Like you take any lagna, you look at 5th house and then 7th house and 9th house. Whether you go that way or you say for a lady, some people say the 9th house is for the children. And if you go that way, or if you take Chandra lagna or Surya lagna, always the 5th house is getting afflicted. As in either the 5th Lord is in 6th, 8th from itself, or there's a Kura Graha sitting there, or there's a 6-8 connection. So it's getting afflicted and Jupiter in the 12th. So getting children for the lady is going to be difficult. Almost impossible.
And Guruji, if you take the Atma Karak Lagna, there also the 7th Lord is in the 12th. The Karakamsha Lagna, I mean.
Okay. So shall we, at least from her point of view, say, don't think of the second marriage until at least Jupiter Dasha is over, or do we say, why don't you go
Yes,
to?
yes, Guruji. I mean, see, at least some bhuktis have to go. Maybe after Chandra, maybe she could try.
No, she can get married in Jupiter Moon Dasa. So she has a
after
potential.
Surya.
Yeah, she has a potential to get married Jupiter Moon, followed by children in Jupiter Mars.
A small difference of opinion. Jupiter Moon would be difficult period again for her.
Okay.
Because Guruji has mentioned that the conjoined periods of 3, 6, 8, and 12 is going to be difficult. So here, if you take Moon as seventh lord, Jupiter is 6, 8 from that house, the house lord. And it's also third from Jupiter. So from Jupiter's Dashanath, Bhukti of Moon will not be that productive.
No, I think he was referring to experience in Vamshas.
Again, Navamsha, right?
No, I was looking at the D1 actually. Yeah.
No, when you look at Navamsha, Moon is the best option for marriage.
No, but even in Navamsha, Jupiter Moon are in 212 combination.
Yeah.
No, that is better than Moon being in the 12th, right? Moon in second is far better than Moon was in 12th to Jupiter.
No, when we look at
I'll say something here. What I saw in this chart, very peculiar, was Jupiter in Rashi chart 12th, Bhava chart 12th, in Navamsha 3rd, and in D7, 6th house. So, this is something very strong. Just imagine,
Guruji.
in all the important houses of children and marriage, every time Jupiter is in trouble. That's why.
Guruji, did this person do Guru Droha in the past life?
Could be, because you can easily say that because there is a lot of affliction on the 3-9 axis, right? So it is possible that the Guru had turned very bad, and in its dasha it's giving something. But maybe it's also directly, because when Upapada Lagna is afflicted so many times, can say that maybe it was only with marriage, but I'm not sure whether it was a result of Guru Droha or something else. Okay, but really for a lady, I think B.V. Raman often quoted this, the 9th house should be not afflicted. Okay, in this case, even if you want to extend it, the Lord of the 9th is somewhat compassed also, even though you can say the gap is 9 degrees, but still within 10 degrees. Usually 10 degrees is and moreover, you can say Mercury, the green planet, is in the red sign, so on. So surely there is some problem. Yeah, that's what, in the beginning I noticed that. So Mars is aspecting Mercury as well. So it's like, double barrel, already in Mars house, and then Mars is once again afflicting Mercury. So we have some issues, too many things going on. Manoj,
Dhilip, I just have a small comment here. I think while we are obviously we are very clear that it's a trouble chart from the point of view of relationships and marriage. We can also look at, if we are really counseling, she's sitting in front of you, we can probably look at some of the bright sides of this horoscope, especially when it is of consequence in the near future. So when we look at this chart, at least the placement of the 10th Lord seems to be pretty good. Whether you look at it from pure D1 or from Bhava also. So, and she's going to get into Venus Bhukti very shortly. So while we know that Jupiter is in a precarious position, can we look at some graha which will lend some support to this person, from other aspects? So from a career aspect, like 5th Lord in the 10th or even if you consider it at 9th, it's pretty good.
Correct, because you say Yoga Karaka is in the 9th.
Correct. And also when I look at her overall D10 chart, it is pretty good from a career perspective, the 10th Lord is sitting well there. So how would we counsel her in two ways? One is obviously the spiritual way, embark into spirituality. And the second is, probe more into what is she doing from career perspective, and maybe her focus should increase more on her work. So maybe things will fall in place with this dual combination of spirituality and focus on work.
Good. Yeah. In fact,
is she in a government job?
No, she's not in a government job. But when I did the counseling, I did it almost like how Jyotish Kasi, as just now said. I also went on the same. Because personally, whenever I look at Papa Kartri, I really don't use it the way people use it. When I say Papa Kartri, I want planets to be near the affliction. Okay, should be very near for actual effect of Papa Kartri, because I was just wondering if combustion is based on degrees, so many things are based on degrees, then can we, use Papa Kartri in a very generalized way, even if they're far apart, adjacent signs, do we still use it? Somehow, I was not so convinced, because I always look very practically at astrology. So much of details given for combustion, proximity, effects, and so on. We have planetary war, we have conjunctions, we have this combustion, all of this. And there we are only looking at degrees, right? Whereas here, Papa Kartri, I don't think Venus, look at Shadbala. Venus is doing strong, right? Look at Vimshopaka, Venus is doing well. So that 0 degree is not that big, but 0 degree is big at the exact 0 degree of zodiac. The 120 degree, where it is also 0 degree, is really in trouble. 240 is in trouble. The rest of 0, unless you use this Bala the Avastha, otherwise it's not such a big thing. Okay, because I still feel Shadbala is a detailed way of assessing the strength of planets. Then after 40 pages of calculation given for Shadbala, why would we want to go back to one single one-line rule to say that Venus is weak? Okay, and and as I expected, when I told you have no problem with your career, 0 problem with your career, I said, and she said, yes, I have no problem. I'm doing well. She's doing so well in her career that she's actually, the husband is dependent on her, which is also one of the reasons why, trouble broke out. But there is violence in the marriage. The man is, physical, violent. Okay. So
Guruji, if the client
also there is
comes and asks you explicitly, like, when should I get divorced, and if so, when will I get remarried? So what do we end it with?
So there is one more point.
It's a very, very difficult question, V.K. Varman. It's a very difficult question, because we know we are not computers or machines or robots. When we deal with a girl, we are allowed to be very, not only girl or boy, man or woman, a human being. We just can't tell things simply like how you, if you were a robot, you would simply say something without any emotions. Obviously, the emotions do get in. Deep inside, while I was consulting, I was almost crying. Okay. But then I don't know what to do, because once you've taken birth with a karma, what else to do? Sometimes you wish to tell God, why do you do this so much? We know that you are merciful. Why don't you give some, show some mercy on this person? But of course, lucky that she has a good profession. I said, hang on to the profession. Don't let this marriage disturb your office work. When you go to office, switch off. Don't remember anything about your marriage. Work properly, because this is the one, the 10th Lord in the, the Rashi chart, at least in the 10th Swakshetra, Vimshopaka, Shadbala, everything. At least this is the one that will stand with you throughout life. So just focus on that. And then I said, do a little bit of spirituality, spiritual stuff. And let's hope, okay, see, sometimes when you travel, you don't look so far ahead, right? Let's not discuss the entire life with astrology. You say, okay, now is bad time. Let's wait, Sade Sati. Then we'll rethink. maybe horoscope matching can help. Maybe you find a man who already has a child, and then even if you're childless, you can take care of that child because your subconscious is so much afflicted. You can tell anything you want for at that, when you say, let's do it after 2 years, 3 years. Let's see how it goes from here. Let the person come back to you and say, I want to get remarried. That time we'll see what other ideas. Like whenever I've seen childlessness, I always say, marry a man who already has a child. Then even if there's no children, see, for example, the man refused to give her a child. You understand what I mean? So blocking the childbirth willfully. No, let's have a child. No, not yet. Okay. So it is blocked. So if you go for the second marriage, marry a man with already having a child, and that should maybe it will be a backup, because it's like taking care of someone else's child, which should settle the score of the past life karma by Upapada Lagna is so much afflicted. Okay, sometimes you see most of the Kerala astrologers always include Mandi, okay, in the horoscope. I do not know why they do it all the time. But if you do consider Mandi as another factor, Upapada Lagna is severely afflicted, right? All of them on one side, very bad. Then the time she got married and all that. Do we have time, Manoj, for the husband, or we'll keep it next Sunday?
There is one more,
Sir, one more point I want
ray
to ask,
of optimism here, Dhilipji.
Yes.
There is one more ray of optimism. If you look at Venus, it is also the Dharakaraka, DK. And,
correct.
And also she's just embarked into Libra Charadasha.
Okay. So she just entered. Okay.
She just entered. It's going to go for another 10 years, perhaps.
Yeah.
So I think the counseling around, focus on career as well as spirituality, it can potentially lead to her finding a partner in her workplace itself.
Okay.
So we do not know that, and if we also have to consider Jupiter happens to be a duplicate yogi also, so that's another small.
Okay.
These are some additional ways of focus.
Guruji, so
sir, one more point regarding the Venus at 0 degrees.
One by one, just raise your hand, and when
I just want to finish with one sentence saying that Guru is in the 12th house, so she should fall at the feet of a Guru, and also chant Shiva Sahasranama. Only those two things might give her a very good chance.
Yeah, I gave her that suggestion because I saw something very interesting about Jupiter in a different way, positive way. Therefore, I said, this is asking for, awakening. Third house is also the house of, awakening in Navamsha, you can say, maybe awakening in the concept of marriage, why marriage and so on. So spiritual gurus also included, right? So there are several ways of finding this. Okay, so the point is, whenever something like this happens to any one of you in real life, somebody is asking you a question like this, buy time. Right now, we first have to get done with this because there's so much violence. There is a threat, right? It could be dangerous in Sade Sati. So they separated and say, okay, let the separation be like this, because if you're together, things can go very bad. Then, meanwhile, the divorce will happen. And then we'll say, wait for the center, the peak Sade Sati to be over. Then we'll rethink. And then we have horoscope matching. So many other ways. That's all come, later, like that. We'll deal with things one at a time. Okay.
Sir, I want to ask here one question, sir, because we are discussing about marriage, and Saturn is in the second house, is in its own, also is its in own house. According to Rishi Bhrigu,
what happened? It's not in his own house. It's not in his own house. Saturn is not in its own house. No. Saturn is in Pisces.
Move to second house.
No. It is
These in
house
third.
number. House number alone is
Not
Saturn
in
number
one
2.
house, right. Not in one house. We shouldn't say that. Second lord in second house. Can we?
Yeah, that you can say. That you can say. Yes, that you can say. Second lord in second. Correct.
House.
Yeah.
Saturn in second.
Also.
In any case, Saturn in second, right, sir?
Yeah, correct. You can read Saturn in second. You can read Saturn.
We will say
Lord
that the native will remain in want of money and will have 2 wives. This means that his first wife will die and he will marry again.
Okay, so you're hinting at just by Saturn, you can say there will be a second marriage.
Maybe, sir.
Yeah, we can use those lines. See, the thing is, yeah. What you do with astrology is, suppose the person is asking the question, do you think there's a second marriage? At that time, we will answer how Sridevi is now said, second lord in the second. See, we have a sloka which says that there is a chance for you to marry because it's like, the death of the spouse. Your marriage only lasted 2 months. So, very short time. So you say, yeah, it is quick death type only. Then we can use this sloka to say, predict there is a possibility of a second marriage. See, we should, based on the question, answer. For example, you are not going to tell Sri Ken, Ken Rauji, you are not doing, you're doing this and that in the past life and all that, because we know he chose another path, right? So his 12th lord in the 12th is quite different. He's got a Muni yoga. He's got a lot of yogas in his chart, which is saying something more on, he has something else to do. So depending upon the question, we have to see how best we can answer. At least we should encourage. You're not going to tell that's the end of the world for anybody. And like Prahlad said, Sai Prahlad said, Jupiter, bad, yes, Shiva Sahasranam. Do Shiva. Okay, so let's stick to the fundamentals. And somebody said some Guru Droha possibility. I too felt the same way. That's because why the 9th house is like this. And 9th house is, when you say Guru, it's not only Guru, it's called guidance. She was misguided, She never knew what kind of a man this is when she married, unfortunately. So whenever your 9th house is afflicted, start with some gurus, Shirdi Sai Baba. And anyway, for this Lagna, Maharshi says Jupiter is a very powerful malefic, right? Amongst other malefics.
Guruji, for the second marriage, I have 2 views. The second marriage also seems to be having afflictions because of the affliction to the 9th and the 11th. If you take the traditional, in those days, 9th was considered, and there also the affliction is there, and 11th also the affliction is there. So I would also be very cautious in giving that suggestion.
No, that's what, Kishorji, what we have to do, at that time we'll have to say, let's go slow. We'll check the horoscope. We'll make sure the person has got some good time in his, dasha. Maybe, when he was most probably it will be a divorcee, right? So maybe his bad time is also over. Maybe he married the wrong person. So now this time both of you join. There's a greater chance for something. And then on top of that, we can, then that's all.
Matching also can take place.
A lot of things can happen. So for the time being, what do we say? So we say everything is like this. So you start with Lord Shiva and hope for the best. Get aligned with one guru. Hard to find anyway, but you can always, when you start looking for, I used to say tell people, why not, Shirdi Sai Baba or, Guru Raghavendra, some great guru of recent times. I always used to recommend, suggest. So you can say something like that and then say, please wait. Be very careful. Don't meet your husband, alone, and try to argue with him because injury may follow. So something like that. Okay.
Sir, from the chart, can we assess this violence, sir?
Anybody wants to suggest from where is this violence coming from? I know where it is coming from.
Mars aspecting the 7th
Mars in 8th house.
And in being in 8th house.
A little more than that. Slightly more than that.
In Navamsa,
Mars aspecting ascendant.
Mars aspecting ascendant.
Ascendant Lord.
Ascendant Lord. Oh, very nice. Mars aspecting ascendant Lord. Exactly. But Mars aspecting Saturn is usually fireworks. It's usually physical violence. Always. Okay. Mars and Saturn, any nexus, any connection. Okay.
Any
But
connection?
Mars is,
Okay.
yeah, any connection. Yes. Mars is truly the violence planet, at least for this Lagna, because surprise that for Makar Lagna, Mars is almost Maraka, right? In the description, did he not say it's Maraka also? If you refer BPHS volume 1,
Yes, Guruji.
right? He uses the word Maraka. I don't know from where he, how the greatness of Maharshi Parashara, what clarity to say Mars is a Maraka, he uses the word. Okay. So I had a tough time because I'm also the same Lagna in Rahu Dasha, Mars Antardasha. I lost my left eye central vision. Okay. It was kind of crippled me. I know that. I'm not the same after that event. Okay. So Mars is truly a bad planet. But Mars in the 8th is violence, subject to violence. Maybe this person also was violent in the past life. Okay. We never know that. Mars in the 8th. What could be the best remedy for Mars in the 8th for a man? Because for women, we cannot suggest one remedy. This remedy that I'm going to say, it's always blood donation. If Mars is in the 8th. Mars aspecting the 8th, Mars in the 8th is the most often seen combination for people assassinated. Sudden death, violence. Because assassination is violence, death by violence. Okay, gunshot and so on. Mars looking at 8th or in the 8th itself. Okay, keep that in mind. So in this case, Mars is aspecting the Lord of Kutumba. From where is the violence coming? From the in-laws side. And the father-in-law, mother-in-law, they are just watching. No support, unsupported.
Sir, one additional point about Venus at 0 degrees, sir. Venus at 0 degrees means it's Vargottama in several divisional charts. So can we add that as an additional advantage?
Yeah, that's why it's a plus point. That's why Venus is standing so tall. You pointed out the exact reason why Venus is standing tall in Nimshopaka.
Okay. Sir, and do we know this time of birth is accurate, sir? Because it says 12 o'clock. Usually 12 o'clock means it's an approximation, right?
Huh?
The time of birth, 18/11/1996. The time of birth is given as 12 o'clock. So do we know this is the exact time of birth or?
Yeah, it is the exact time. Yeah.
12 o'clock.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
It is exact.
Guruji,
it is not rounded up. Yeah.
Yeah. So Guruji, remember I said a rule long time ago, where in the Navamsha, wherever Aquarius falls, that house, they will have a loss. And for this lady, Aquarius is the 7th house. So there is a loss in the 7th house.
Wait. What was that?
It was a one more rule that I quoted long time back. And it's also applying here, which is wherever Aquarius is, in that house, they shall face a loss.
Wherever Aquarius is, in that house, what loss?
The signification of that house. So here it is a 7th. So the signification is from Navamsha Lagna.
Or maybe a planet occupying that house, right?
Yeah.
So here it is a 7th lord.
Yeah, the 7th house. So there's a loss in the 7th.
You always surprise us with some out of the book rules, right? Okay. I was out of the world. Okay, out of the books. Very nice. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Maybe Aquarius is about losing, because Aquarius is the water bearer where the man is pouring water, right? Losing water. Okay. Good. I think we'll run out of time for the husband's chart. We'll catch up coming Sunday again. Okay.
Guruji, any idea what the husband's name is?
Varman, why would you want to know that?
No, I'm just. Hello.
You feel it's somebody you know?
No. I'm just trying to guess. I'm learning something where you can learn your partner's name based on the placement of planets. So that's the reason I asked for the name in the chat as well. So.
Oh, okay. No, that I cannot reveal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, probably not here.
Sri, SRI, something like that, or Chandra's like me.
We want to say it is cross on free. Okay, something.
Chandra related.
But it's too tempting for me to say the name because there is something very relevant to the discussion that we had so long. But unfortunately, I cannot reveal the name.
No, so let us, Guruji.
No, but I've mentioned it in the chat. You can
it is unbelievably connected to the entire discussion. Okay, but I can't. In spite of that, I cannot.
Okay, Guruji, I've looked at this very big concept with names, which is that people who are naming themselves after, like, let's say, particular deity. There's a grandmaster with you and I both know. His name is. I think you know who I'm talking about, right? RR something,
Yeah.
somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
So just look at his name and then look at the Purana story. So just like what happened in Ramayana, after he got married, he left his wife. Same story happened to him after he got married. That marriage went down. And then recently I looked at a chart whose name is Chiranjeevi, and he never got married, and he's never getting this marriage thing at all because Chiranjeevi is like Hanuman. Hanuman never got married.
Okay.
People have to be very aware of what names they are choosing, especially if it is of deities of very, powerful.
Okay. Since
have power.
No. Obviously, there is something to do with. Okay. I'll tell you one thing about Rahu Dosha and the name Naga. Okay. Somebody's mic is making a lot of noise. I'll have a tough time editing. That is, ladies or even men who have the Naga, in the front, always have Rahu in 2-8 or 1-7. Most of them. And fifth house Rahu. Not fifth house Ketu. So fifth house Rahu, and then the Lord will be badly placed. 2-8, lot of afflictions on 2-8. And 1-7 Rahu, again, lot of afflictions on 1-7. The frequency of names starting with Naga, very high. Very high. So much that nowadays when somebody sends the name to me, I am Naga like this, and immediately I will ask the question, is your Rahu on 2-8 axis or is it in the 5th or 1-7? But then it won't be just plain position. It will be severely afflicted. And they'll always say yes. Okay. So this is something. So there is a lot of connection to the name, but where it fails is suppose you use it on an entire continent or an entire nation where the words aren't Naga.
Very specific to this Naga, sir. I recently came across a person, okay, but I didn't tell you also, but this person came for consultation also to us.
Okay.
This person had, in fact, faked her parents' death.
Oh. In fact?
Like, she gave us some details that her parent passed so and so time, but it was all fake.
Oh. So faking.
Her name started with Naga.
Naga, okay. So Nagas cheat.
Deception, sir.
Snakes cheat. Okay. Why do you say snakes cheat? I'm only talking about snake. Why would you say snakes cheat? Anybody wants to attempt?
They're going left and right. It's like as if they're going this way, then they're going that way. That's the reason.
You see, it's a very strange creature which has evolved a poison system within itself, aimed at biting and sending poison. It's a completely different mechanism, unlike any other animal that you know. Okay, a system devoted to killing. Okay, now by what? By cheating. How will the other animal know that it's containing some poison? It will not know at all. But some of the cats are very smart. The big cats are very smart. they know it is dangerous, but not every animal knows it is dangerous, So it is so small, thin, and such a tiny thing. Whereas if you see a lion, you will obviously run because it looks fearsome, it's large, and there's nothing you can say it's cheating us. You expected it. Whereas the small, the snakes, the poisonous ones, extremely small, you will not believe what I say. One bite, the elephant also will fall. Okay? Yeah, Soumya says peacocks know. A lot of animals know. I know that. I don't know what they know about the exact mechanism. Maybe something in the genetic system tells them that this is a dangerous thing. But I don't know whether they really know that it contains a poison that if it bites, you will die very quickly. It cheats by that. It also cheats because you may think it is non-poisonous and then not act, and then slowly you die. Okay, so many ways. Mongoose. I'm just exaggerating, okay? But when I say mongoose knows, I don't know whether it knows it has poison. Okay, I'm not sure. Unless if I were the mongoose, I'll know whether I know that the snake is having cyanide inside. Maybe I'm afraid that it might bite me, like any other animal might bite me. Okay, how's that? Anyway, that's just for. But the easiest way to understand that is in Samudra Manthan story, Rahu cheats, Swarbanu cheats. He cheats and tries to get Amrita, right? The opposite of poison. That's why we give milk to the snakes, though snakes never consume milk. I mean, that's a different topic altogether. So now what we'll do is we'll end this discussion here because I have to get ready for tomorrow's morning darshan in Tirupati. I'm on Tirupati, Tirumala Hills. So we'll catch up next Sunday and do the man's chart. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I hope, yes, Manoj, first of all, I should thank you for recording it in my absence.
Sir, how is the crowd, sir?
Here, very too much.
Yeah, we heard there is a huge line.
There's a huge crowd, and somebody inside this room helped me get the accommodation. I don't want to.
Okay.
I thank madam for that. So I don't know what would have happened. It was such a big mess. We were just confused about how to handle the problem, but now everything has settled down. Okay, thank you, Manoj, for being there as a co-host, and a lot of people, wonderful contribution. Nowadays, I think we are moving in the right direction. Many of you are chatting, many of you are interacting. Sometimes, in those days, only 3 or 4 people will talk. Now more and more people, but I encourage others also to participate. Some of you I know are recently joined, but it takes time. If you join Patreon, I'm sure you can speed up the process of learning. Patreon.com, maybe Manoj will let you know how to join. And we'll have more discussions like this, but it's actually not as simple as just discussing the horoscope. Here we are struggling to find out what method and what direction should we even do the consultation. How do we handle real life situations? It's not so easy as we think. If you don't know the person, if you are not sitting in front of the person, you could do things very differently. You can look at it from like a machine, non-living. But when you're sitting in front of a person, it's not anymore that. So you have to be very careful. I'll tell you more practical stories later on about consultations. So hope to see you coming Sunday. Okay, we'll catch up. Manoj, just wait for the recording. Once it is done, you send it by Google Drive, or I'll take it from you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hope everybody had a great time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Okay.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Thank
Guruji.
you, sir.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om to everyone.